Morning, everyone. Happy Hanukkah. Happy last day of Hanukkah. Okay, we are in Mishna Meiser Sheni, Perek Gimel, chapter 3, Mishna 4. Peres b'Yushalayim Mois b'Medina. Let's say the person's Meiser Sheni produce was in Yerushalayim, but the monies were in the Medina. They were outside of Yerushalayim. And he wants to now transfer the sanctity from the fruits onto the money. No, I'm sorry, the other way around. The fruits are in Yerushalayim. They are chulin, they are non-sanctified, and his money is Meiser Sheni. The money is outside of Yerushalayim, but wherever that money is, he knows he's going to need it, and he can't use it. It was already money that Meiser Sheni sanctity was transferred onto. Now, with that sanctity, the money can only be used for food and drink in Yerushalayim. He needs that money. He needs that money to use for other things, and he has produce, in Yerushalayim, that he would then transfer the sanctity from the money outside of Yerushalayim to the produce that's inside Yerushalayim, and then, of course, eat that produce in Yerushalayim. Or Omer, then the person can say, that money, meaning that Meiser Sheni money that's outside of Yerushalayim, that the sanctity from that money can be transferred onto these fruits. Yesterday, we had a case where you're doing that with someone else's fruit, but both were in Yerushalayim, the money and the produce. Here, the Mishna is telling us, even if they're not in the same place, you can still do it. Even if, in this case, you have the produce in Yerushalayim and the money outside Yerushalayim. Mois Yerushalayim, let's say you have the money in Yerushalayim, and again, you want to use it for other things, not for food and drink. Uperes Medina, the produce is outside Yerushalayim. The person says, the person can say, these monies that I have here in Yerushalayim, the sanctity is transfer them onto those fruits that are outside of Yerushalayim. You have to make sure, though, that those fruits, that the sanctity of Meiser Sheni is transferred from the money onto them, will then be brought up to Yerushalayim and eaten there. And the commentaries say that in this case, when you have transferred the sanctity from the money onto the fruits, you have to now bring those fruits to Yerushalayim. You can't take those fruits and transfer the sanctity that they have onto other fruits, back onto money or back onto money. You can't do that then. When you have your original produce and you're going to go ahead and transfer it, fine. But if we're talking about the fruit, the sanctity for money is transferred onto it, you cannot go then and transfer back from that produce onto money again. The only time you would be able to do that is if the food becomes tameh. If food becomes tameh, and therefore you're not going to be able to eat it as Meiser Sheni, then you can transfer the sanctity back onto money. Okay, next Mishnah. Mois nechnas Yerushalayim v'yotzis. Money that has the sanctity of Meiser Sheni, produce of Meiser Sheni, the sanctity was transferred from that produce onto the money. Nechnas Yerushalayim, they can enter Yerushalayim, v'yotzis, and go out. Uperes nechnasin, produce of Meiser Sheni, enters Yerushalayim, ve'ein yotzin, but they do not go out. So it's a very important rule. Once you bring the Meiser Sheni produce into Yerushalayim, it can't go out. Now, the understanding behind this halacha is the following. By Torah law, Meiser Sheni produce may be redeemed for money before it is brought to Yerushalayim, but once it enters Yerushalayim, it may no longer be redeemed. That's the Torah law. But if you were to take it out of Yerushalayim, then you would be able to redeem it. Once you bring produce, if the produce is outside of Yerushalayim, the original produce of Meiser Sheni is outside of Yerushalayim, you can redeem it onto money. Once you bring that produce into Yerushalayim, in Yerushalayim, you can't transfer the sanctity onto money, but you could take it outside of Yerushalayim and transfer it. That's according to Torah law. The sages instituted that as a precautionary measure, not to come to redeem Meiser Sheni money in Yerushalayim, so as not to come to do that, they said that any fruit that once even entered Yerushalayim cannot be redeemed anymore. Meaning, even if you take it out, which Torah law would allow you then to redeem it, Meiser Sheni that enters the city of Yerushalayim, you can't take it out at all. which we'll see soon what that means, what purpose he would do that. But it starts from the fact that the Torah prohibits redeeming, transferring the sanctity of Ma'aseh produce onto money in Yerushalayim. As a precautionary measure, they said that once money enters Yerushalayim, even if you were to take it, once produce enters Yerushalayim, even if you were to take it out, you can't redeem it anymore. And not only that, you can't even take it out. That is the Tanna Kama's opinion. Rishon ben Gamliel says, produce could come in and go out. Rishon ben Gamliel seems to be arguing on the Tanna Kama, and he says that the same way the Tanna Kama said that this prohibition, again, it's a rabbinic prohibition, not to take anything, the fruit that came in, not to take it out, that doesn't apply to money. That's what the Tanna Kama says. Money in Ma'aser Sheni, you could take out. Shimon Gamliel says, and why would you take it out? You would take it out to transfer it back onto produce for some reason if need be. Shimon Gamliel says, no, not only can the money go out, the fruits can also go out, even once they've come in. So the Bartanur explains that Shimon Gamliel's opinion is not that you can just go ahead and basically take the money, the fruit, the produce went into Yerushalayim, just take it out of Yerushalayim to redeem it. You can't do that. The only thing you can take the produce of Ma'aser Sheni out of Yerushalayim to do is to prepare it outside of Yerushalayim. Because it seems that when it came to grinding and to baking things, it was more available to do that outside Yerushalayim than Yerushalayim. There weren't so many mills, weren't so many bakeries in Yerushalayim, but outside they were. So it was easier to do and cheaper to do because of that. And therefore, Shimon Gamliel says, if you're taking the Ma'aser Sheni produce outside of Yerushalayim in order to prepare it outside of Yerushalayim, you can do that. And once you prepare it outside of Yerushalayim, once you prepare it there, you still got to bring it back in to eat. Eating has to be in Yerushalayim. Shimon Gamliel says that according to Torah law, you can take it out. Okay, you can take it out even to redeem. Shimon Gamliel agrees, Midrabanan Kan Rabbinic law, you can't take it out to redeem, but you can take it out to prepare. If it's going to make it easier for you to prepare it outside of Yerushalayim, then you bring it back in Yerushalayim. That's from Gamliel's opinion, but that's not the halacha. The Tanna Kama disagrees. Tanna Kama says you can never take the Ma'aser produce out of Yerushalayim once it goes in, and that is the halacha. That's the halacha. That's the opinion that's followed. Okay, so right now, the Chavetz Chaim, we're in Klal Dalet, chapter 4, paragraph Hey, paragraph 5. And the Chavetz Chaim is continuing from discussion from yesterday. Yesterday, he was talking about a person who committed, you saw him commit a sin that everybody knows is forbidden. There's no question that he knew what he was doing. No question about that. So we say that in that situation, you cannot go ahead and if he's a Beinoni, if he's if he's a person who tries to stay away from a sin, this one he fell into, but he tries to stay away from sin. And as far as you know, you only saw him do it once. So the halacha is you cannot, to reveal to anybody what he did. Not only that, you cannot hate the person. Rather, you should go over to the person and try to speak to him and, help him correct his ways. Just 1 second. Right. Okay. And again, that situation there is, you only saw him do it once. So therefore we say that perhaps he's regretted what he did. And if he's really regretted, then he's forgiven, at least to some degree. And so definitely you can't go telling other people about it. Aval, however, let's say this person, who again, you saw him commit the sin once. As far as you know, he is a person who tries to not to sin, but you still know this guy's attitude. Meaning, that if you rebuke him, he's not gonna have any interest listening to you. And basically, and you also basically see on this person's attitude which could be based on the fact that he doesn't want to hear any kind of rebuke, that he is liable to repeat. He can come out that he's going to repeat again. In that situation, they should tell the local rabbinical court in a situation where the rabbinical court would have the power. Perhaps they will be, if in the case where a base and rabbinical court has the power to do that, they would punish him in some way and make sure that he doesn't repeat the sin. So basically, you would, in this kind of case where, again, the person is intentional and the person is liable, this is the kind of person who's liable to repeat. So then you can go to the judges of the city, to the rabbinical court, who has the power to do something to stop him from doing it. You can then appear there and tell them about it. The same thing, to go over to his relatives and tell them what happened, if you know that the relatives can convince him. Could be a person who wouldn't want someone other than his relatives to convince him, but a relative could. And even the rabbinical court has to make sure that they rebuke him, and whenever they're going to punish him, to do it privately, not publicly. Because again, the Torah tells us to rebuke someone without embarrassing them. And of course, when that is possible to do, that's what we have to do. Even in this case, where the rabbinical court is going to know about it and get involved, nonetheless, it should be done privately, quietly. But this is only possible if he saw this act. It was two people who saw it. If he's only a single witness, then you can't go into Beis Din and say what happened. They're not going to rely on you. Like you walk into Beis Din. A single person walks to Beis Din for different reasons. He may have a question, he may have whatever it may be. Then he starts telling what somebody did. They're not going to accept him. They're not going to believe him. And therefore, because they can't act, you can't go and act upon another person based on only the testimony of one witness. This their person is considered a person just spreading a bad name about someone. Remember, a person that our sages say that HaKadosh Baruch Hu despises a person who will actually testify on someone as a single witness when it's not going to help. But let's say you would be able to tell, but you would be able to go ahead and tell someone that trusts you about what this person has done. Meaning, a person like this is someone that, again, he won't accept rebuke. This is a person who you may distance yourself from. You're a person that you would not want to associate with, possibly. And therefore, if you know there is someone like that who would trust what you say, again, you only saw it as one person. But if you know someone who would trust you to what you're saying, and that person, therefore, based on that, would distance himself from this sinner until the sinner would change his ways. Again, assume we're talking about a person who rebuke won't help. Because if rebuke would help, you would be able to tell this to people who could put him on the right path. In a situation where, you know, this is the kind of guy, he's got the kind of attitude that, no, he's going to kind of just go on his own way, possibly. That's a person that you can disassociate yourself from. Or tell someone who would trust you, like two witnesses, for them to dissociate themselves from that person also. So this halacha is talking about the kind of person who, again, it's a person who, again, seemingly he's typically the kind of person who would not sin. At the same time, if he does something wrong, this is not the kind of guy who is going to accept rebuke, and therefore it's very possible he's going to repeat. This is a situation where there are possibilities, as were mentioned by the Chavetz Chaim, of being able to repeat what he did. Have a wonderful day, wonderful Shabbos, and enjoy the rest of your Hanukkah. Take care.